in Iran. The pictures on your screen, and let's speak over those pictures. Iranian women in large numbers, thousands of them, are protesting the morality police in Iran, which is on the prowl. They find anybody not wearing the hijab or not wearing the hijab according to the standards that they expect, they're being targeted, they're being picked up, they're being attacked. A 21-year-old woman was killed after she was picked up by the morality police in Iran for not wearing the hijab in a way they would have liked. And across Iran, there were scenes of the police firing tear gas shells to protest, to disperse protests in different parts of Iran, mainly the Kurdish city of Sunandaj. Now that's a video. Many such videos of women, Iranian women, burning the wheel. Some cutting their hair to protest. Iranian women chopping their hair. Some burning the wheel. Hundreds and thousands of them rallying to decry the death of a young woman who, while in police custody in Tehran last week, was killed. The case of a 22-year-old called Mahsa Amini, who was detained last Tuesday after Iran's so-called morality police they found her with a headscarf, and she died in custody. In fact, just to give you an idea about how this morality police functions, let's show you the video of how women are picked up, and these are videos that are being put out by journalists, by women, by activists in Iran, of how the morality police is on the prowl. A woman doesn't wear a hijab, she's picked up and she's taken into custody. Look at that. Such videos of people being picked up. There are more dramatic videos that we have accessed. We'll show you those videos of women being carried away, some being arrested. And this is the case of the 21-year-old who was picked up by the morality police. And there are protests across Iran now. Let me go across to Folad Ahangaran. Folad Ahangaran is joining us live from Iran. Folad is live from Iran, and he will tell us all about what's going on, what his country is witnessing. Folad reports from both Iran and Afghanistan. Before I go across to my colleague Prajwal reporting from Bengaluru, I'm going across to Folad. Folad, why don't you tell our viewers here on Republic TV and in India watching the broadcast what's going on in Iran?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ranjan, for asking. Currently, Iran is witnessing a new wave of anti-hijab protests, and this incident has been carried out for almost 2 recent days in Iran. And the beginning of this protest was Sandaj province of Iran, which is part of Kurdistan area, Kurdistan of Iran. And the incident took place while Mahsa Amini, 22 years old Iranian citizen, was captured by morality police, and then she died in the custody of morality police of Iran. Now, this incident has built the issue of somehow targeting and protesting in Iran, and also most of the women who are against this process, they are taking their veils, and also they are unveiling their faces. Even they are burning this issue. And at the same time, anti-Iran government protest has been begun that has caused massive clashes between Iran anti-crisis police and also the protesters.
Yes. Folad, stay with me. In fact, let me play out some of the videos of those protests that we are seeing. In fact, we just played out a dramatic video of how the morality police, the so-called morality police strikes. If I can go across to those pictures, full frame of women clashing with this morality police. Women clashing with the morality police. We just played out that video. That's the video. Look at that, of how they're picked up, how they're confronted in the middle of the streets. Look at that. Pinned to the ground, attacked by the morality police, women and men included, in Iran. And there are protests in different parts of Iran on this protest, on this treatment to women. Look at those pictures. And one woman has died. And these are protest scenes from across Iran. Look at that, pictures of women marching across different cities of Iran to mark their protest. And in contrast, look at that, and those are pictures coming in of tear gas shells being fired and a crackdown against the anti-hijab revolution. That's a new video that is just coming from another city in Iran where protesters are seen running helter-skelter. Women burning the hijab in this video. Now, contrast all of this to what's happening in India. Remember that video during the Udupi episode in Karnataka when they fought for hijabs? Let's show you that video as well. In India, how they wanted the hijab. In India, they wanted the hijab, and in Iran, an entire country is fighting the hijab. And even today in the courts, the lobby, the advocates, and they're still fighting for the... Yeah, look at that. That's the video of Muskan. Remember this video? This was not a hijab, in fact, but they called it a hijab protest when the Campus Front of India, the Popular Front of India got involved. Let me go across to Prajwal. Prajwal, my colleague, is joining us live from Bengaluru. Prajwal, even today a few arguments took place in the court, in the Supreme Court. In the highest court, they still desperately want the hijab to be introduced, to be made mandatory, when the state government, the Karnataka High Court, has said it cannot be allowed. Now, the contrast is clear. The irony this evening is that an Islamic country and people in an Islamic country like Iran don't want the hijab. In India, a secular nation, people are fighting, a section is fighting in the Supreme Court for the hijab to be allowed.
Absolutely, Niranjan, because look at where we are progressing as a society, because an Islamic country does not want hijab, but whereas in Karnataka, there are two parties who are there at play who are stating that hijab is a fundamental right despite the judgment order that was passed by the Karnataka High Court on the 15th of March, where it stated that wearing of hijab is not an essential part in Islam. This was clearly mentioned by the Karnataka High Court, but then the 6 students from Udupi were not happy, and one of the petitioners, Niba Naz, who is a Muslim student, a special leave petition was filed on behalf of her, and today senior advocate Dushyant Dave was arguing he was arguing for pro-hijab, but look at what has happened in Iran. That being point one, but also what does the law say in Karnataka is also something which is important, because under the Karnataka Education Act of 1983, under section 145 of 1, the government of Karnataka has empowered recognized educational institutions to decide about uniforms on their students. This is exactly what the government of, this is what the Karnataka Education Act of 1983 has spoken about. But then, now looking at it, who are the agitators here and who is trying to stoke fire to this controversy? It is the PFI as well as the Campus Front of India, and we know by their history that they want to create these communal tensions in a very sensitive place like Dakshina Kannada, where many lives have been lost because of the hate mongering by organizations such as PFI and the Campus Front of India too. And the big question mark over here is who is going on and funding these students to file a petition in the Supreme Court? So there were many questions questions asked about it, but then the senior advocate stated that he's taken up this case as a special case and he's going on and fighting at it. And now even the political parties in Karnataka are at loggerheads. The BJP clearly states that according to the act which was set in 1983, they are following whatever is being said. And after the judgment by the Karnataka High Court, they have stated that whatever the judgment that the High Court of Karnataka has passed on, they will continue to do that. But then the Congress and the JDS, in order to appease minorities, are saying otherwise, and this has definitely created a lot of tensions. But whatever is happening in Iran should definitely serve as an example to both the Congress and the JDS in Karnataka.
Okay. In fact, there are more videos that are coming in. Before I go across to Fawad for one last word, let me play out the video. In fact, the video is ready with us from our newsroom. And this is the video that is just coming in. I'd like to play that video out. Look at that video. I'll go full frame to that video. And this is the video that has just come in, where a woman removes her hijab, throws it in the air in front of security forces, and she dares them to arrest her. Look at that. Look at that video. Let's go full frame. Let's just open up the screen a little bit so that our viewers can see it. Yeah, once again, that's a video from Iran, where in front of security forces, a woman throws her hijab in the air. Look at that. That's the revolution. That's the revolution that's underway, that's happening live in front of our eyes in Iran. I'm going to stay with these pictures. Look at that. Woman throws the hijab, challenges the police to arrest her, and men cheer her on. This is Sanandaj, and people took to the streets to protest against the murdering of Mahsa Amini, who was beaten to death by the hijab model police in Iran. Are these protests continuing, Fawad? Fawad, are these protests continuing in Iran as we speak? Let's stay with those pictures.
This protest is continuing, and on the second day of this protest, Ebrahim Raisi, the president of Iran, has called to the family of Mahsa and has told them that their daughter was like his own daughter, and he's so afraid and sympathizer of this situation that their daughter was died. But at the same time, as this protest has taken place in Iran, there are some other movements as well that's taking place on Twitter worldwide. The Iranian citizens are just posting their videos on Twitter, and also the number of the people who are looking for the trend for making Mahsa Amini's death a trend is increasing day by day. And most of the Twitter users are mainly criticizing the police of Iran, and they are saying that if they would wear the hijab, so it means the victory of morality police, and that's why after this we would never wear any kind of hijab and when we are going in the public. So the number of the protesters are increasing hour by hour, and also it's a new revolution in Iran, mainly in Sanandaj province of Iran.
Thank you for that, Fawad and Prajwal, live from Iran and Bengaluru as well. Fawad is reporting for us live from Iran, an expert on Iran and Afghanistan as well. He's in Iran right now. Prajwal in Bengaluru, thank you for joining us on the biggest story tonight.